Tshwane residents have been warned to brace themselves for a weekend without or with very little water supply. Rand Water notified the city that its Mapleton Booster Station experienced a power supply failure. The incident has affected the Vlakfontein Reservoir that supplies parts of the city. The cause of the power failure is being investigated by technicians. Our reporter Katleho Sekhotho joins us now. Katleho, I can see the reservoir behind you. I don't know if you've been able to peek your head in and see how those water levels are looking. But what do we know about the investigation into the cause?
Indeed, a very good afternoon, Erin. We are here at the Katleho Reservoir in the capital in Tshwane, where, the city is facing a number of challenges as it relates to water and obviously electricity supply, which affects the entire country. But specifically in Tshwane, the water issues linked to Rand Water. Rand Water really struggling, as outlined by the city's statement early this morning or late last night, outlining issues around the Mapleton Booster Station, and Rand Water saying that power failures at its facility have caused some of the water shortages in the capital. Now, as you mentioned, residents have been struggling with either very little supply of water or no supply of water at all. But to get more details on this, Erin, I have with me a councillor of Ward 42 in Tshwane, that's Shane. Just to give us more details about the challenges that the city is facing. Shane, thank you so much for speaking to us. Just give us a brief overview of where the problem is and how it's affecting the city.
Okay, so the main issues affecting the ward have been experienced since February this year. It would seem that it is as a result of the increased stages of load shedding that the country is facing, and I believe it's impacting Rand Water's ability to purify water where the dams are full, but they're struggling to purify the water and pump it to the city, which are the customers at the end of the day. So over the last while, we've been faced with regular low water pressure situations within the ward. And these low water pressures manifest in the fact that the reservoirs that are feeding my ward specifically, around Waterkloof, Monument Park, Waterkloof Ridge, a critical reservoir, Carina Reservoir, is running dry. And it's within 15 minutes, once the pumps stop working due to low levels, that residents are already affected by water outages.
Mm-hmm. Now, Shane, as a councillor, have you heard any communication from the city in terms of how they're dealing with the situation to mitigate this?
I have. I've personally spoken to the Mayor, Silius Brink, myself. He told me that yesterday he spoke directly with the CEO of Rand Water. I'm aware that there's regular meetings between the group head of the bulk water department with the CEO as well as the COO of Rand Water to try and mitigate some of the impacts that they're experiencing. We are also engaging as councillors with our provincial counterparts to also take our plight up at the relevant levels within the water department.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, just the last one. What have we seen residents been doing to manage this? I mean, how do they cope with no water?
Yeah, it's a sad thing. So I myself have been regularly arranging water tankers to come in for those residents that don't necessarily have the means to mitigate the impacts of no water. A lot of residents now are starting to drop boreholes. A lot of them are also purchasing JoJo tanks to use as a buffer for when water does go out, that they've got some water in the tanks that can tide them over for a couple of days. The local CPF has also engaged with residents, and we've put together a register of residents who are willing to share borehole water as well with the community, so that if somebody's in dire straits, they don't have the means to go to the water tanker, they can just pop off to a neighbour to get some water.
Mm-hmm. How long do we think this will carry on for? Do you have any sense?
It's difficult to say. From what I've heard is that a mini substation in this regard has been vandalized. There's been cable theft there, cable vandalization. It's very difficult to gauge how long that repair will take. Once the repair is effected, the pumps will start working. So unlike electricity, when there's a return to power, it's instantaneous. With water, it's a tangible thing. It has to be physically moved from the Mapleton Booster Station location all the way through the Rand water networks, and the reservoirs in the city have to fill up first. So once we get news of when Eskom's fix that power situation, it will likely be up to 24 hours before there's full restoration of residents receiving water.
Shane, thank you so much for that. Thank you. As you heard there, Aaron, Shane Maas, the councillor for Ward 42 here in Tshwane, just outlining the details of the situation, the dire situation here in the capital. Residents not having water. Residents also taking matters into their own hands in terms of how they mitigate the situation. People purchasing JoJo tanks, as well as people digging boreholes in order to have water supply. But it will be important for that communication from the city in terms of how quickly they can deal with the situation here in the capital.
Katleho Sekhotho there for us in Tshwane on those persisting water problems.